It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
All right, hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts episode number 66. Today is the 10th of February, 2016. All right, gonna go down the list and introduce everybody for hopefully the people who haven't seen us before. I know we get used to talking to a lot of people we have in our classes and on Hump Day Hangouts, but we do the introduction because we do have new people showing up every week, so we want to make sure that they get to meet us all and know who's actually behind this. And I apologize for my screen face today. I forgot that I had my webcam hooked up to my other computer and realized that 2 minutes before we went live, so no video today. So let's start with Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Excellent. How you doing?
Cannot complain. I'm inside where it's warm, and outside it is snowing, so I'm good. How about yourself, Hernan? How's it going?
Hey, Andy. Hey, everyone. It's really good to be here.
I'm going to come down to Buenos Aires and settle up with you.
Okay.
God, hey, Marco, how's it going?
Hey man, what's up? It's 80 and sunny again.
Oh man, that's too bad. I feel for you. That's got to be boring.
Poor bastard.
I can't stand it, man.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I'll bring some snow with me when we meet up next. Hey Bradley, how's it going?
Good, man, and don't lie. The only reason your camera's not on is because your beard is overgrown and unkempt.
Yeah, well, it was looking kind of icy today. I tried to get a picture, but my hands were frozen. So it's pretty nasty outside right now up here.
He's tending to his running trail.
Yeah. Keep calm and go running in the woods. Which
you guys are going to have people coming after me.
Running in the woods.
All right, as far as announcements go, we're just going to run through this because we already got the questions piling up, so we're going to have to get going. But I wanted to remind everybody IFTTT 2.0 is around the corner. We're definitely going to be having more information coming out about that, but we're obviously really looking forward to that, going to have a cool community with that. And if you've been thinking about joining the masterclass, the way it's going to work is if you join the masterclass, it's like now you get the IFTTT SEO Academy. Well, if you join the masterclass, you're going to get IFTTT 2.0. All right, but the price on the masterclass is going to be increasing before we launch IFTTT 2.0. So if you're interested in that, now is definitely the time to be doing that. And then also, if you don't have it yet, head over to SERPS and get your free account over there. That's obviously where we're doing your done-for-you networks, video powerhouse, network management, all that good stuff. And we're working on press releases, and that should be out here in the next couple weeks. So we'll be probably doing a quick run-through. I think, Bradley, what you want to do, maybe a portion of a Hump Day Hangout on maybe how people can use those?
Yeah, I'll probably end up adding a couple training videos inside the platform as well, but I don't want to say when because the last couple times I've mentioned it, I've said, oh yeah, it should be out in a couple weeks, and that's been it hasn't happened yet, so I'm not going to say when.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, well that's all I've got on my end. You guys have anything?
No.
MGP project.
Are we
the
allowed
project
to
we
talk
can't
about
talk about.
That's all I can say. If I say any more, I'd have to go out and track you down and muzzle you and all that. I don't want to do that. MGP project.
MGP project. Okay. Shh. Stop it, Marco. All right.
All right. Let's get rolling.
Grab the screen, and we're gonna get into something before we let the cat out of the bag and it runs around crazy. All right. I'm gonna lock the screen on me, and we're gonna get right into questions. There's a bunch of them today. Hola, señorita. Quick question. This is from Mark O'Connell. Can you still rank in maps if the main website has been attacked by Penguin? Yeah, you can. You can, but I would still try to clean up your link profile, though. But as far as I know, you can. I mean, I've had because a lot of the lead gen sites that I do, I don't even focus on organic at all. Ranking the sites for organic. There's a correlation between your website and your maps position in the local 3-pack for sure, but I think there's more of a relationship there between the on page and how you connect it with your maps page, and also like with the citations, and you can do link building to the citations, a lot of things like that. But I know that a lot of the sites that I have ranked for lead gen properties are just ranked in maps, and they might be on page 2 for organic, and I really don't care because they're still generating leads. So I don't really focus on organic for lead gen unless I don't have a physical location or a spammed address or whatever. So I would say yes. However, I don't know that I've had any sites that were actually penalized to be able to give you a definitive answer on that. But my assumption is that you probably could. But I would still absolutely work on cleaning up the link profile. And correct me if I'm wrong here, any of you guys, but I believe that Penguin is now refreshing, kind of like Panda does. I'm not 100% sure if that's been completely rolled out yet, but
yeah, that's what I heard. In fact, there was some rumors about a new Phantom update and whatnot, and people are believing that. There's no like actual communication or somebody from Google saying anything, but we think that it's rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it was coming anyways, and so that's good for us guys, because it used to be where if you got an algorithmic penalty from Penguin penalty, it was a pain in the ass to try to clean up because you'd have to wait until another big update. I mean, I spent months and months and months on a client site cleaning up the link profile, and it never made any difference until they did the last big Penguin refresh. And then it came back, it jumped back to where, previous Penguin state and started ranking really, really well. But it took forever. And I probably didn't need to do near as much work because it was probably had already been cleaned up, but it wasn't refreshing. And like the Panda algorithm refreshes roughly every 20 days, the Penguin is supposed to be refreshing as well so that it will make it more responsive to any type of changes that you make to your link profile. So I would absolutely try to work on cleaning that up, but in the meantime, you could also work on making the relationship stronger between the site itself and the maps page, which, Mark, I don't know if you're in masterclass. Actually, I guess that was Mastermind. We did a whole entire webinar about this last week for Mastermind, a full 2-hour webinar about it. So it was all about local and how to rank in the 3-packs. And so I don't know if you're a Mastermind member yet or not, but you might want to join because we talk a lot about stuff like that in there. So, but the relationship between those two is going to be important, and also semantic hubs, trying to get in a lot of places where you can link your properties all together, including your branded network properties, link building to those, link building to citations. Things like that are going to make a big difference. Don't just try to get in local business business directories like national business directories. You should also try to get in niche-specific directories as well as hyperlocal directories for your site, which, again, we talked about how to do that in Mastermind last week. But those kind of things are really going to give you a boost in maps because a lot of people aren't looking for those, what I call hyperlocal directories, and those are places that you can get links that are. Because remember, the two types of links that you're trying to get to your maps listing or to help boost your maps position are going to be either topically relevant or geographically relevant or location relevant. That's what I was looking for, that word, location relevant. So if you can get both, that's even better. But typically you're going to either get a national business type directory like a Yelp or Yellow Pages or something. But if you can also get like if it's a plumber site, for example, plumbing directory listings, and then also getting local directory listings like for your actual local city or local municipality. A lot of times there's business directories specific to your local area or your county, and those are other good places to get links from. And then you use those, by the way, as tier 1 links that you can build additional links to. So he says if he had a client who had bad SEO done in the past, would you still rank in maps with all the citation work, schema markup, etc.? Would a Penguin penalty leak over to maps? Thanks. Yeah, again, my assumption is that you still could, but I would still make it an effort to clean up the backlink profile. It's not that difficult to do, guys. If it's not a manual action, action where you get notified in Search Console, if it's an algorithmic action, it's really not that difficult to do because you just go in and identify the spammy links and just disavow them. If it's a manual action, Google's going to want to see that you had some sort of outreach to try to get the links removed. So you have to document an outreach campaign to where you've tried to contact webmasters and get the links removed and that kind of stuff. But with an algorithmic penalty where there's no manual spam action taken, you can just basically identify the links that you think are spammy and just submit them as a disavow file. And then what you do is take the links from that disavow file and send them through an indexer so that they get pinged and crawled again, and Google will recognize that they're, you're requesting to disavow them. So it's not that difficult to do. Okay, Jackie, this is her question. She says, are you getting the related content you mentioned in your detailed tiered IFTTT networks and related RSS integration article from third-party RSS feeds, like the home improvement example you gave for roofers? Yeah, I mean, that's what it says in the training, Jackie. So if you're looking for related content feeds, you just go find related content feeds from third-party sources. That's pretty much the reason why they're called related content feeds. If this was a roofing site, client site was a roofing site, and you're going to inject for tier 2 networks additional content sources at the tier 2 triggers, then you'd want to go out and find additional content sources. Typically, you're going to probably have a hard time finding specifically just roofing content. So what I would do is suggest that tier 2, which is perfectly okay to do, is to go a bit broader with like home improvement stuff, period. So you could look at like Bob Vila, This Old House, Do-It-Yourself Network, DIY Network, a lot of those different types of sites, and use those as content triggers. Okay, and then you could even, if you wanted to, set up filters to where it would only pass certain, use something like feedrinse.com or something like that, where you can set it up to where it will only pass certain types of content through. If it's an overactive feed, which a lot of those will be, you can set up filters to where it only allows certain keywords to pass, or blog posts with certain keywords in them, or tags in the title, whatever that you could do. You could set up certain kind of filters, but that's exactly where you want to use other people's content there, so that you're masking you're reducing your footprint out at tier 2. Okay. Jackie says, did somebody say something? Somebody chiming in?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Must be hearing things. Jackie says, I don't want to use the Network Empire WP Semantic Theme for my money site because they are not pretty, but they rank like crazy. What semantic plugins do you suggest I use for my beautiful WordPress theme? Unfortunately, not semantic ready, besides add meta tags mentioned by Chris. The one that I would suggest is that I haven't tested yet. I did pick it up, but I didn't test it yet. But we've had a lot of our mastermind members that are testing it, that say have really, really good results with it, and it's going to be launched, I believe, on the 18th, which is in 8 days from today. I think it's either the 17th or the 18th, but it's called Project Supremacy. Let's tag Jackie on this one.
Yep.
I already posted it.
Oh, you did? Well, there you go. That was, you want to see my fast draw? Want to see it again? Okay, that was, so there you go, Project Supremacy. That's supposed to be a really good plugin. It's a Schema plugin. It'll do a bunch of stuff. Had a lot of people in the mastermind that have been raving about it. So, like I said, I picked it up as a pre-launch too, but haven't even had a chance to test it yet. At some point I will, and I'll do a review on it, guys. But for right now, I would suggest just trying that. It won't be released for, like I said, I think to the general public for another week or so. But apparently, it's one of the best plugins out for that kind of stuff. So check it out. Joel says, hi Bradley, when building links with GSA or FCS Networker, should the links be built to individual posts on the IFTT? We got to make this a frequently asked question, Adam, if you don't mind, because this comes up almost weekly now.
When building, should the links be built? Sure.
Yeah, because I mean we've answered this question. It's fine, Joel. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying this question comes up almost weekly, or at least bi-weekly. So if you can make a note of it, we'll get April to cut this out for a FAQ.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, when building links with GSA or FCS Networker, should the links be built to individual posts on the IFTTT properties, or should they be built to the homepage of the properties? I would like to know this because I'm confused regarding link building package with SERPS. Will it build branded Tier 1 links to the homepage or individual posts on the Tier 2 properties? Okay, so I'll tell you how I do it, and then we'll talk about what I do is I build when I send my networks to have links built to them, I send just the homepage URLs of all the network properties. I'll send like if I'm just building links to my Tier 1 network, I'll send all my Tier 1 network property profile URLs. If I'm doing it for a full 2-tier network, then I'll send all 4 rings, okay, worth the homepage profile URLs of all 4 rings, okay, and I'll send that over and say build links to everything. But I don't do it to the individual posts. Yes, that would be more effective, but here's why I don't do that. because every single time you make a post, you'd have to go extract your post URLs from all of those blogs. And that's a ton of manual work. And the only way, the closest thing I know how to automate that is to use the backlink commando plugin with backlinks indexer. We have a blog post. I don't know, Adam, you want me to dig up the URL, or do you have it handy?
Yeah, if somebody else can go grab that while we're chatting here, I'm adding some notes.
How to automate backlink indexing. It's right here. I'm going to post it on the top of the page and tag Joel on it. Just 1 second, and I'll come back and finish your question. Which one was Joel? I'm not seeing him. Well, I'm just
Joel Damanagi.
Maybe I don't have him circled. I probably don't.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't have them circled yet. Okay, well, here's automated backlink indexing. Okay, so I'll explain this here in just a second. I did a blog post on this because in order to grab the URLs from all of your network properties, the post URLs, unless you're doing that manually, which I certainly don't recommend, if all you're managing is like one website, then you can do that because you've got the time. If that's all you're doing is working on one website, when you start managing, several websites, dozens, even dozens of websites, then it's just not practical to go extract all the post URLs every time a post is made. Okay, so I just don't do it. I just run all my links to the homepage URLs of all my network properties. Okay, but the backlinks indexer, this one here, this is how I automate the backlink indexing from all the Web 2s, because what Backlink Commando does is, well, basically it's a plugin that you install on your WordPress site. It could be your money site, or you could install it on just a subdomain WordPress site. Because essentially what this plugin will do is you can grab all your RSS feed URLs from all of your network properties. So there's about 7 of them that have an RSS feed URL from each network. Okay, like WordPress, Tumblr, Blogger, Delicious, Digo, Pocket. Several of them have RSS feed URLs. So you can grab those RSS feed URLs and then add them to the Backlinks Commando plugin, and all of this is shown in this walkthrough video. And then what happens is Backlink Commando, you also connect an indexing service, and this will run on a cron job, so it'll run every 2 hours or every 4 hours, whatever you set your cron settings to, which I recommend. And again, this is mentioned in the video, but I recommend using an external cron for that instead of your WordPress cron. But it'll basically go out, and every time it runs, like every 4 hours, let's say that you set it for every 4 hours, it will go extract it will read all the RSS feeds that you've submitted to the plugin from all your Web 2s. It will extract all the post URLs, and then it will put them in a queue to be sent to the backlinks indexing service. Okay, and that's the closest thing I know how to do to get those Web 2 links, the post URLs, indexed, or to build links to them, is that way. I recommend using Backlinks Indexer for that, because they'll build like other Web 2 links to those links. All right, but as far as like doing it manually, again, if you're only doing a couple properties that you have, then yeah, you can do that, and you could absolutely build links to those post URLs. But the problem is then the links that you're building to those post URLs will only benefit those particular post URLs. Whereas if you build links to the home page, remember, let's say that you've got 5 or 10 posts on your home page before it starts to paginate, right? Before its old posts start pushing off the page and go to like page 2, then all of those posts on that page will benefit from those links. Yep. So that's why I like to do that, because it just makes it easier, and I just boost up the home pages, and that way when I'm adding new content to my networks, the new content is automatically going to benefit from all that juice that was built to the homepage URLs. By the time the stuff paginates, like it gets 5 or 10 posts down and it actually moves to page 2, it generally will have settled into where it's going to be ranking anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can just chime in on this, Joel, if you want an extra layer of juice, I mean, for those keywords that are ranking on probably bottom page 1 or page 2, if you need an extra push for those after you've gone ahead and you submitted the home pages, you can go back and see, check on your blog post or make a new blog post that will be syndicated out, and targeting that keyword and pointing to or linking to the internal page that you want to rank on your website, And then what I would do is to grab the pages, you know, the internal pages where that post, that particular post, it's being syndicated out. Like, for example, the post on WordPress, on Tumblr, on Blogger, you know, those kind of websites. And then what you could do is to purchase another package, another boosting package, just for those URLs, you know? Yeah. So, you know, you can combine like 2 or 3 posts like that, so you will be sending link shoes just to the URLs that you actually want to push and that you actually want to rank or want to give them a push. That's kind of a ninja strategy that I have been using and has been working really, really well. But that's usually after the fact that you have pretty much powered up the entire structure, and this is just to give them a push, you know, from bottom page 1 or to top page 2 to top page 1 in that case.
Yeah. Just to answer your question on the link building packages, we will build links to whatever you send to us, whatever URLs you send to us. But again, I recommend that you just grab the homepage URLs of all the properties within your networks. If you just want, you know, us to build links to your tier 1 network, then you just grab those URLs, you know, 20 to 25 URLs, and send those to us. If you want us to do all, like if you've got a full 2-tier network, you've got 4 rings, send us all 4 rings worth, which could be, you know, 80 to 100 URLs. It's up to you. It depends on where you want to concentrate your juice. But no, I mean, if you send us individual post URLs, we'll build links to that. There's no question. But I recommend that's a lot of additional work, is extracting those post URLs. So it's just so much easier just to go to the spreadsheet, your account workbook, your account workbook that you you know, your IFTTT account workbook, and just copy that column worth of URLs for your profile URLs and just paste them into the order form. It just makes it easy that way. It works well. And when you're dealing with a bunch of properties, that's pretty much the only way to do it, because it's just too inefficient to do it any other way. Okay, Kenny says, hi guys, sup? I have a 2-person in-house SEO team working for me. They mostly do manual outreach for link building. We're at the point of having to try new verticals because we've emailed 1 billion people. I've taught them how to create IFTTT networks. They do simple on-page tasks and some social media. If you guys had a 2-person team of SEO associates for tasks like that, what would you focus on as far as what they should be learning and the most effective tasks they should be doing daily? That's a good question. I would probably say, you know, doing outreach like that is great if you've got the bandwidth to do that, the manpower to do it. That's a great way to get good links. But I would say probably next would be finding 100% topically relevant expired domains and start building my own link network specific to that topical, you know, that topical trust flow category or topic that you need, because that's what I'm doing a lot of. And I know there was another question on this page from Brian Lichtig, I believe, about what we're using to scrape and find domains. And there's Adam, if you want to drop it, it's the Blue Chip. Terry Kyle has what's called Blue Chip Backlinks. It's a domain crawler. And I've tried about 4 of them now, different domain crawlers, and his is by far the best. And it's also one of the most affordable, the most cost-effective, and it's really, really good. So what I just for right now, because it's still working so well, you know, Marco did a post on our blog about the death of the PBN, which is coming at some point, probably in 2016. It's being implemented already, the changes in the algorithm for seasonal type search terms, but it's coming. But for right now, if you can get domains that have inbound link profiles that are 100% same topical trust flow category is what your main website is, your money site is, then you can purchase them for the cost of registration, $10, right? Essentially $10. Then you can use those right now to build your own link networks and rebuild the old sites, the sites that have expired on that with that expired domain. You just rebuild the old sites so that, you know, they look like real sites because they were real sites. You just repurchased them and rebuilt them. But that's what I'm doing right now. It's working really, really well, and all that can be handled within Blue Chip Backlinks. It's a fantastic tool. It really is. It's hands down one of the most best investments I've made recently, and it's working really, really well. And so for now, that's a good way to do it because it's inexpensive. So building your own link networks is inexpensive. I mean, like I talked about this. We did a demonstration on that tool about a month ago now for masterclass members. We did it for Mastermind and Masterclass members, in fact. But when I was talking about how, you know, I've been using SAP links for, God, a year and a half now, a lot of them through the SEOlutions.biz service. As you know, they're a provider of SAPE links, and I buy them in bulk. So you know, I've spent several $100s per month on SAPE links, and I have been for well over a year. Well, I've started eliminating a lot of those packages because I'm purchasing my own domains for $10, the cost of registration, and using those that are 100% relevant. That will literally pass if my inbound link profile were to catch a manual review. Those sites that are being rebuilt on expired domains are 100% topically relevant. They look like real websites because they at one time were somebody's website, so they're not, you know, just spam blog PBN style sites. And I'm using those to build links now, so I'm actually eliminating. I'm kind of weaning myself off of all these SAPE links, and I'm saving so much money it's ridiculous. So instead of spending, you know, $500 or $600 in a month on SAPE links, I'll go out and buy 50 or 60 domains and build a nice link network of 100% topically relevant sites, and then I can eliminate that $500 or $600 cost per month over the course of the next, you know, 10 months worth, you know, 10 12 months. So I've saved myself literally thousands of dollars on links. So it's working really, really well. Blue chip backlinks, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a great tool for the cost. It's rather inexpensive, and if you're using third-party SEO like link building services, you can pretty much get rid of them if you start building your own link networks, and it's kind of an asset that'll serve you at least until the death of the PBN.
Yeah, just one thing I know we've talked about before, though, is if you've got these people and they already have a good idea of what they're doing and what they're, you know, obviously it can do with tasks and SEO, having them do client outreach, you know, start prospecting for you, start bringing people in, depending obviously on your workload.
Yep. Yep, doing emailing and stuff like that, that would absolutely help too. Okay, Jamina says, hello guys, Bradley, you're saying my name very close to perfect. Okay, good, because I always feel like an ass if I'm saying something wrong. Can you please tell me how do you go about using a network on a website that's a store? Okay, I know that networks work best by constantly posting. How does this work with pages that are already posted? Do I repost that page? What about sites that sell products and don't really have much content on their site, like furniture or appliance store? How do we rank those pages that are already upselling products? Okay, thanks. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Yeah, we've talked about this before. I mean, if any e-commerce sites, you're right, they typically don't have a lot of content. So what we usually do is put a subdomain on the domain and put a WordPress blog on it and use that as the content distribution engine. And then we just blog from the WordPress blog, which is on a subdomain. And within the blog posts, so we create content around the products or the product categories, you know what I mean? And then link within the blog posts to the product pages on the sites, linking to the actual item or sales pages, the product pages on the e-commerce site, the root domain, right? And use that. That way you can still create content that might not mix well with the e-commerce site itself, but you're using a subdomain blog instead, and then creating content around the that would be relevant to those products that you're promoting on the e-com site, and then syndicating that content out across your networks and linking to your product pages. And so what that does is now you're building the SEO juice to those product pages, as well as potentially funneling traffic into those pages because your content gets seen out across those network properties. So it can generate traffic and it can boost your SEO. That's the point. Okay, for pages that are already posted, yeah, again, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't use IFTTT Networks to syndicate product pages, like the actual product pages themselves. I would just use the IFTTT Networks to syndicate blog content from a subdomain, in which case just link to those product pages that were already posted. It's the same thing that we do with regular sites like local business sites or affiliate sites or whatever else. We use the blog posting to link to the pages that we're trying to rank. It's not so much the blog posts themselves that we're trying to rank, although you can do that too, but it's about the links within the blog post that we're pointing to the pages on our sites that we want to rank. Okay? All right, so hopefully that was helpful. James Reeves. I had a spam profile named James Reeve. That's funny. And this is not me posting a question here, by the way. I had a spam profile, no kidding, called James Reeves. In fact, I'm sure I still have it. That's funny. Bradley, I'm about to purchase my first IFTTT setup. I was looking at Web 2.0 rankers, branded IFTTT Network, and also the single-tier network offered in SERPS space. Is there any difference between the two? Any reason to use one over the other? Pros, cons? Thanks. Yeah, no, I don't know. Web 2.0 ranker, I think they just basically bit off our stuff because we were the first people to come out with them. I don't know what the difference is because I'm not going to go over there and purchase the competition's networks. So.
But
I don't know what
they
to
did.
tell you, buddy.
The difference is that they're ours.
Yeah.
SERP space. They're done by us up to our specs. It's what we use in our everyday SEO and our everyday ranking efforts. It's what we use. We wouldn't use anybody else's, so we don't know what they do.
Well, this makes sense now where some of the questions came from, though. Powered by Twitter, not RSS.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Anyways, I'll check this stuff out later.
They do look a lot.
Dude, there are networks essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his own version of our networks, but they didn't come out
He's
until
probably
after
reselling them.
Huh?
He's probably reselling them.
It could be because remember we sell them in bulk too to people like SEO agencies and stuff. We do bulk network pricing, and maybe he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. So James, I can't answer that question. I can tell you that we were the ones that created them originally. They're built to our specs, which are we create basically semantic networks, right? They're semantic. They're all tied together. It builds a strong identity, which is incredibly important for ranking now, right? Is to have an identity, whether it's a personal identity or a brand identity. Having that identity and reinforcing that as much as possible, and that's what our networks are all about. Okay. So I can't really speak for the competitors. Don't know what they're doing, and I'm not going to go purchase one. If you want to purchase one and come back to us and let us know. As a matter of fact, why don't you buy from them and buy from us and do a comparison and let us know what you think. So Sky says, I have a client that is a division of a very large company. I'm wondering, if I can add SameAs schema for multiple Twitter and Google Plus accounts. One account being the division, and the other account in the main company. The company owns divisions in many different industries, so I'm wondering if I could lose trust flow because of the broad topics, and if multiple accounts would confuse Google. I wouldn't do that, Sky. What I would do is if you want to be more specific with your SameAs attributes, and guys, he's talking about semantic markup using the SameAs attributes. You can go to schema.org and look it up, what the SameAs attributes are. But what I would do, Sky, in this situation is I would use. I'm assuming it's a WordPress site. And you can use a plugin that will allow you to inject different scripts or codes in different pages headers so that it's not just a site-wide. So, for example, a json-ld markup will typically go in the head section of the website, but it will be site-wide. So you go to your header.php file, you insert the json-ld script, and it will be a site-wide script. So it will read on every page or load on every page. But what I recommend doing in something like this, it would be the same as if you've got one website, but you've got multiple locations and multiple location pages. You wouldn't want to put the NAP, right, the local business schema.org markup on for all locations in the header of the site, because that would definitely confuse Google. So the SameAs attribute, I would treat it the same way. I would use a plugin to inject specific json-ld markup, schema.org markup into specific pages. So in this case, if you've got a site that has multiple divisions, for let's say division A, I'd have one json-ld code, and then for division B, I'd have another json-ld code, and I would insert those in those division pages on those websites. But for the site-wide json-ld markup, I would just use the main corporate, social profile. The URLs for those is the same as attributes, because otherwise, again, you don't want to spam that stuff, guys. And if you certainly can add too much stuff in schema.org. So I always try to keep it separated as much as possible. It doesn't make sense to add a bunch of different divisions. It wouldn't look right, because you're trying to tell Google, hey, and that's what we talk about with the question I was answering for James here, is when we create our networks, we're creating these relationships between all these properties. We're not trying to hide footprints, guys, like a lot of people do, right? We're trying to claim our footprint. We're saying, hey, this is us. These are all of our properties. Yes, we're interlinking all these properties because these are all of they're extensions of us. They're extensions of our brand. So in the json-ld, using the SameAs code, the markup in the You wouldn't want to tell them, hey Google, look, we're also over here, and we're also over here, and we're also over here, we're also over here. It wouldn't make sense as far as like 4 Twitter accounts and things like that. So I would use just the corporate stuff for site wide, but then I would inject specific code into each division's page. I'm sure there's some sort of silo structure on that site, or some way that the site is a hierarchy of the site that you could inject it that way. Hopefully that makes sense. If you can't do that, then I would just recommend sticking with just the corporate SameAs attributes, and that's it. Don't go with all the other stuff. Just leave those out. Does anybody want to add to that?
I think you nailed it.
There's a plugin. I've got it in one of my spreadsheets, but it's add code to header plugin or something like that. I've got the name of it saved in a spreadsheet because I use it a lot.
I use insert headers and footers.
Yeah, but that's not page specific though, is it? I think that's site wide.
Yeah, that's site wide, but well, I don't know. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, there's a plugin that I use. If I can think about it, there's a plugin that I use, and if I pause my screen, I could go find it real quick. But anyways, it'll add. In fact, let me just do that real quick. And the reason I say that is because I know this question comes up often. I need to bookmark it anyway, so just give me 1 second, guys.
Probably add it to the plugin area.
Yeah, probably. Let me check. Here we go. Almost there. Just a second. Here we go. OH add script header footer. That's what it is. Here, let me grab it. We'll go Google it. I'll grab the screen back from you guys, or for you guys, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, this is the title of it here. I can never remember the name for some reason, but this is it. It's called the OH add script header footer plugin. Okay, it's free to use. Here it is. OH add script to individual pages, header footer. Okay, and this is, you can inject a different json-ld code on different pages. So it's not a site-wide markup. It's just only specific to the pages you add it to. So I'm going to add this to the page, and you guys can use this. All right, very good. Let's keep moving. Is the screen locked on me? Yes, it is. All right, next. Let's see. Chick says, hi, Semantic Masters. My question is regarding Schema. I have review portals built on WordPress. When inputting into Google's rich snippet tool, the structured data testing tool, okay, I get the all good message. What is maddening is that rich snippets or star ratings will only show with the internal page's reviews in the SERPS, but not the home page, aggregated reviews, which is what most searchers find when they do a branded search for my customers. So customers are now asking why aren't the stars showing up, wondering why this is happening. Marco, do you have any insight on this?
No, I would have to look into it because I haven't run across this problem.
Homepage not showing stars, but gets the top ranking in branded search. I'm not sure, Chick, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
again, without actually looking at the code on the side, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, the fact is that, well, he is using rich snippets. Maybe he can give your plugin a try and see if that, if he can add the rich snippet star rating on the homepage if it isn't added. But yeah, if it is added and it's not working, we'll need to review the code actually.
Yeah, I would. If you're getting it to show on individual pages but not the home page, there's got to be something wrong with the code for the home page, or I wonder if you're using a plugin for that, or if you're coding that in manually, or what. There's something obviously there's something causing it to not show and not to display on the home page, and I'm not sure what it is. Without digging into it, I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. I'll tell you what, though, if this is something that you do a lot of, I think that plugin we talked about earlier called the Project Supremacy plugin will handle a lot of this stuff for you too. That might be a way to kind of streamline your process, unless you've got something you're already using that's working for you well. But I'm not sure why it's doing that. Is that across multiple? I'm curious if it's just this one client that happens with, or if it happens.
That was going to be my question. If he's using a plugin or if he's using some sort of code, is this a problem across all websites?
Right.
Where it's the home page, then the code is the problem, or is it just this website that there could be interference from other plugins, or without being able to go into the website to look at the code and what the code is actually doing, there's really no way to answer this.
Yeah, I agree. Just trying to give them some potential ideas to look at, because yeah, if it's caused that, if you're seeing the same kind of thing across other websites, then it's either the code itself, the schema markup that you're using, the structured data that you're using, or but if it's only specific to this one site, then it could be a conflict, like even CSS conflict could cause that, right? Like something wrong with that. I'm assuming it could.
Potentially.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that could cause that, Chick. Sorry, I would possibly circle back to that if you have some more info for us. Brian says, where's the best place to get age niche relevant domains? We just talked about that, Brian. Go check out Blue Chip Backlinks. And again, if you were in the masterclass, last week we did a few weeks ago, we did a full demonstration on how to use that and training on how to use it and everything to find exactly the types of domains that you need for the cost of registration only, with very little research required. It's a fabulous tool. Roger says, I have a client with a store front that people can visit in one city. It's their one and only physical location. We want to get 3-pack listings. I swear to God, we answered this question in masterclass last week. I don't know. We'll go through it again, I guess. But I swear we answered this question in masterclass last week. We want to get
if it's something that we answered in masterclass, shouldn't it stay in masterclass?
Let's see. These should not display. No, in reading this in the question, Roger, you could use PO boxes and hide your street. You'd have to use the street addressing in order to be able to get it to work by Google, anyways, right? And then hide the location. However, you have a storefront that people can only visit in one city, so that can be misleading, and I don't like to do that. I do that kind of stuff for websites or businesses that service the clients at their locations. In other words, they go to the client or their customers' locations, like HVAC contractors, tree service contractors, things like that, where they don't have a storefront. Because if you're spamming maps and hiding your address for a type of business that has a point of sale where people come to that location, and you're trying to get ranked in other, adjacent cities, but you don't have a storefront in there, you can piss your customers off, right? Because it's misleading. And so even though you could spam it that way, I would recommend not doing that and focusing more on organic or paid traffic for that. Because, like, seriously, pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click for that. Because otherwise, if you end up ranking in maps but your storefront is in another city, you're going to mislead your customers, which can cause complaints and everything else. And I don't recommend doing that. So, spamming maps, the 3-packs with fake addresses, guys, will work absolutely. But I stick to doing that only with service-based businesses where I serve, the client, the contractor or the business serves their customers at their locations, the customers' locations. Okay. That's what I would say, Roger. Honestly, I wouldn't do it. I would tell them flat out, look, in the areas that you do not have a storefront, I'll focus on organic SEO or even pay-per-click and try to get set up some ads for you so that you can rank, you can generate leads that way. Like I just recently started messing with AdWords a little bit, and I've never done it before. I did an AdWords for YouTube, but not AdWords for Google, search. And I'm doing some of that stuff now, playing with it, and it's not that intimidating once you get into it, and it can work. There's no question. So I would do something like that, but I don't recommend spamming 3-packs when you have a point of sale, because you'll just piss your customers off. It's very misleading that way. So Kevin says, hey guys, just have a quick question. I have a site that I have branded with what I found out is actually a somewhat relevant keyword, around 300 searches a month. I set up my structure, structured data, json-ld, etc., so that my brand name, domain, etc. are all this keyword. I didn't realize that the name I chose for my brand was also a keyword, but I'm curious now if I am building brand keyword anchors to my site, if I'm over-optimizing my site since the brand name is also a keyword. If so, would this keep my inner pages that are targeting completely different keywords from not ranking as well as they could be? As always, thanks. Yeah, it could. See, that's the problem with, like, now, and yours is a little bit more of a unique situation, but what I'm about to say still applies. If you have an exact match domain, which is why I don't ever recommend doing that anymore, like, you know, Plumber Dallas, for example, plumberdallas.com or dallasplumber.com. I don't, even if, like, first of all, I wouldn't name the business that anymore. I used to do that, guys, for my lead gen properties. I would name, you know, a fake business, you know, like Manassas Tree Service or, you know, Dallas Tree Service, and then I would get dallastreeservice.com domain. But I don't recommend doing that anymore because then the brand name is a keyword, right? So every time you build a branded URL or excuse me, a branded anchor text link, you're going to get a keyword anchor text. Also, anytime you build a naked URL link where you're just using the URL as the anchor, that also counts as a keyword. It didn't used to, but it does now. So that's why we never recommend using exact match anchors, or excuse me, exact match domains anymore. In your case, you thought it was a brand, but it's also a keyword, then yeah, it could cause issues. Hernan, I'll ask you for your advice on this one, but I would recommend, I'm not sure how I would go about that. I would probably only build links to the homepage URL if it was the anchor text of the link was a longer phrase, more like a much longer phrase than just the brand name or the keyword, because that way you could at least dilute the over-optimization of the anchor text by using the brand in a longer phrase as the anchor text. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's what I would do. You could also use the URL, like completely the URL. You know, if you're trying to brand your website, I would use keyword.com. You know, and every time I can, instead of using the keyword as the brand name, I would use keyword.com. You know, like cheapshoes.com or bluewidgets.com. So that way you will be creating a brand awareness, widget.com, and using the dot as well.
Yeah, so variations of that URL is what you're saying.
Yeah, variations of the URL, but you know, always pushing the brand as being keyword.com or bluewidgets.com. You know, in that case, you will be kind of optimizing because you won't be using the keyword every time. And also, you know, the other way around that Bradley was saying, you know, using long phrases like check our homepage about bluewidgets.com on this link, all of that would be your anchor text, the way like big newspapers are doing, for example. That would also be a solution.
Yeah. And that way you would keep your anchor text profile diverse enough to where you wouldn't get an algorithmic, you know, it wouldn't trip an algorithmic penalty or filter, I should say, for being over optimized. And then whenever you're doing pages and posts, you could link to those posts using like the titles of the posts and stuff, which is also going to work well for you because that'll de-optimize it. And even if your keyword is in the root domain, if you're linking to like a post URL, it's going to be typically a much longer URL anyways. But you could use like the post titles and stuff like that might not contain that keyword anyways, if that makes sense. So I would do what Hernan says as well, is just kind of use longer phrases as your anchor text. Just get in the habit of doing that, so that you keep it more diverse. Ulysses says, hey guys, joined the masterclass recently and going through the content you mentioned building IFTTT networks around your own YouTube channels instead of a client's. Yes, absolutely. My question is, if I'm working with 2 clients in different industries, would I build 2 separate channels for each niche or just one big network that's for multiple companies and use playlists for each niche with the channel? I'm a bit confused on which path to take. Please explain a little bit more as about the best way to set this up. Love the training so far. Thanks. Great, Ulysses. I'll +1 that. Yeah, it's up to you. Unless the industries, both companies that you're doing work for, are similarly related, I would set up 2 separate channels and start building out, 2 separate networks for that. Only because I like to keep my channels kind of related around one specific theme. It could be a more broader theme. So, for example, let's say I had a roofing client and I had an HVAC client, Okay, and those are, so they're both home improvement related type clients or contractors, right? So what I would do is I would probably, you could do one like theme channel like around home improvement and do setup where you could promote roofing stuff through roofing playlists, and then HVAC stuff through HVAC playlists, and then landscaping stuff through, you know, that kind of, you guys get the idea. You could do that and that would make sense. But so because those are at least closely related, those two example contractors or businesses, HVAC and roofing, are at least closely related. They fall under a home improvement umbrella, right? But if they're completely unrelated, let's say it was an insurance agency or an insurance broker, and you know, somebody that sells insurance, and then HVAC contractor, it wouldn't make sense in my mind to put those two on the same channel. Even if you tried to separate it via playlist, I wouldn't do that. So I would, in that case, create two separate channels entirely, if that makes sense. So, you know, that's just the way I like to do it, because I try to keep everything themed, because it makes more sense and it makes the overall relevancy of that channel more effective if you're not diluting it by trying to squeeze other categories in there that really aren't closely related. Okay? So that's how I would do it, Ulysses, is just if they're related close enough, go ahead and put them on one channel. That's fine if you're trying to save a little bit of work. I've got no problem with that if they're related enough. But don't go too far of a stretch to make them related either. You know, if they're just really unrelated, then set up two separate channels and start building out two different networks. Okay, what the hell's going on here? What are we doing with this?
Hernan's conspiracy theory.
Secrets of semantic mastery in the pyramid.
Oh, okay.
Episode 66.
I feel like I should be wearing a tinfoil hat or something. Look, I like that. Look, there's a triangle there. Ooh, it's very cryptic.
Yeah, I think the next time there's a Google update, we should all be wearing tinfoil hats.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this Brony guy is over here, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Aliens, man.
Okay, this is Keith Goodwin. A question on the RSS feed plugin. From what I can see, WordPress now adds two links back to the post for each feed entry, the title of the entry and the read more link at the bottom. Neither are no follow, but neither show in the syndicated article. If I use the Yoast plugin, anything there that uses the available shortcodes gets added but is no follow. However, if I had to link back to the site as HTML in Yoast, the link is do follow. That's correct. Anything I added with the SMRSS plugin was also no follow. There's an option for that inside the RSS plugin. There should be, at least, unless that's just for the premium. Is Chris on? Is Chris on or no?
In spirit only.
Chris,
Yeah.
the plugin has the no follow checkbox, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And was that just for the premium version, or is that for the free version too?
Not sure. I gotta check.
Okay. Well, there should be a checkbox in the settings for that. At least I know in the premium version it does, Keith. And Keith is a mastermind member now, correct? I think he joined the mastermind before we raised prices. So if that's the case, make sure you have
the premium one.
Use the premium one, which means as a mastermind member you can download that. Just make sure you're using the most current version, which is the only version that's on the download page right now. So if I have a do follow link back to the site, but can anyone tell me how to get a do follow link back to the post? Yeah, again, if you're using our plugin, that's why we did that, was so that you could uncheck. You could set it to follow or no follow, but I like it to go obviously to do follow. And then what I do is add a spin tag in for the hard-coded link back to the home page, and I add a spin tag with follow no follow. So in other words, let me well, this is all explained in the let me just go take a look at this real quick. In the example text, this is the free version of the plugin, Keith. As a mastermind member, you can get the premium version as well. But if we click on this, this shows the demo spin tags that we use for the hard-coded link back to the home page. If you're using branded network spin tags, okay, then you'll see that right here I've got a spin tag for follow no follow. So it's rel equals no follow, and then there's the spin bracket, and then there's a blank. So what that'll do is it'll vary it. 50% of the time there will be a follow link. It'll be a follow link back to the home page, and 50% of the time it won't be. and that's just to give it more variety. But the post URL, which would be this right here, this token right here for post link, that's going to always be do follow if you have the plugin settings such that they're not no follow links. Okay, that's why we did that. So hopefully that makes sense. Just make sure you got the most current version of the premium plugin, because that option is there for sure. Okay, we got to wrap up in just a couple minutes. We'll get through just a couple more. I think we're almost done anyways. So someone just came out, this is David, someone just came out with something called artificial intelligence where they are building IFTTT syndication networks. Okay, well, good for them. Hope that works out for them.
That's Peter Drew.
Oh, yeah, that's Peter Drew's thing. Yeah, that's different, though. And we actually had one of our mastermind members submit a support ticket asking about that, because I actually purchased into that as a beta tester to test him out. Peter Drew's a good guy. We cross-promoted stuff of his, and I like Hangout Millionaire. It's called the AI profiles. I know what you're talking about, David. And those are good networks. They're good for video syndication networks. They're not to be used for websites. Okay, and they're not branded networks like what we build. So my reply to that, when somebody asked me what the difference is, and he even said in his support ticket, "Sell me on why I should buy yours instead of his." And I'm not saying you should just buy ours instead of his. I'm saying they serve different purposes. Our networks, our branded networks especially, guys, we're creating a semantic hub, a semantic relationship that gives a strong identity, whether it's a personal identity or a brand identity. And we keep trying to drive this home, guys. That's what there is so much importance or weight put on brand and authority now, because we're in the semantic web, Web 3.0. And so we create this really strong network of sites that are themed, consistently themed around our brand, whether it's for a branded YouTube channel or a branded website, client site, money site, blog, affiliate site, doesn't matter. So we're creating a very strong network of branded properties. And then you can add, as an addition, tiered properties on there, especially like we recommend for YouTube stuff, which is great because it's 100% automated. The stuff that Peter Drew is putting out, he creates networks too. That there's definitely some overlap there, because as part of his AI profiles setup, it uses IFTTT, but it also uses some other properties that we don't use in our networks, just like we have some properties that we use in our networks that aren't used in his. But there is some overlap there. But the difference is those aren't branded and all interlinked the same way that we do. It's a bit more of a random interlinking, so that there's not a footprint with those, whereas ours, we are intentionally leaving a footprint because we're trying to reinforce that brand. Does that make sense? So there really are for different purposes. As I told Walt, who asked that very same question, David, I said they're absolutely good networks. I'm not saying don't buy ours over his or you don't buy his. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they serve different purposes, and I think those are actually great to be used as supplemental video syndication networks. Okay. Clint says, why not just use the test tab in WordPress and add json-ld there? I'm not sure what you mean there. Works the same as putting in the head footer, less work. Test tab in WordPress? I'm not even sure what the hell that is, Clint.
Probably it's the text tab. The HTML one. The HTML one?
Does it though, Clint? And I haven't tested that, because I was always taught from the json-ld markup that it's supposed to be in the header, the head section of the page, not in the body. Maybe, and again, even the text tab, if you did mean to put text tab here, you're talking about like the HTML editor, the text editor on the post or page editing screen. But I've found that, like, when you try to add schema.org markup as microdata, that most WordPress themes will strip that data. Even if you leave it as text when you save it, it'll strip that data out.
Yeah, Clint just said, he replied on the page and said, yep, it works.
Okay, well, I would, I haven't tested that, so if he says it works, try it, guys. But the alternative is just to use this, and you just insert it there, and it works too. So,
yep.
Either way. All right, we got about 2 more minutes, so let's see. That function of adding script per page is included in the project supremacy plugin. Ooh, see, there you go, Sandra. Thank you for that. Even more reason to check it out. Wayne says, don't tick off Clint Butler. He either resembles Jean-Claude Van Damme. Look at that. Good old Wayne. What would we do without you, Wayne? Marina, I would never tick off anyone with the first name Clint. Okay, Robin says, my client has, this will be the last one, guys. We got to go. My client has a site, but it's not generating any traffic, even though it has a bunch of relevant articles, content, and as a promotion, they had a few press releases and social media profiles on all major and unknown sites, and they keep posting to social media at least twice a week. Relevant content. What do you recommend to generate traffic? As you know, at Fiverr, bunch of gigs provide link-back service, but it's all spam because in real-world links can't be spreaded just overnight, whereas they do, so don't recommend them to go for it. I'm not really sure what the question is. You mean you've got... I
guess the question is, what do you recommend for generating traffic to a site? That's a pretty
well, I mean, it depends. If you know, if you're syndicating content, you know, you're producing content regularly, publishing content regularly, and you're sharing it out across social media, then, but do you have relevant followers? Like, are you building an audience? Because just having social media presence isn't going to do it. You've got to start, you know, building that following, people that are interested in circling or following you or whatever, and then you could generate traffic from that. Are you getting ranked for your keywords? Are you trying to generate traffic from Google search? Because if so, then you need to be ranked, right? If you're not ranked for anything, then nobody knows you exist, right? You could set up paid traffic campaigns to start gaining some traction until you could get your SEO to where it's generating traffic for you. You know, that's another pay-per-click. You could do it via Facebook, YouTube ads, Google AdWords, Bing, any one of those. You could do something like that to drive traffic, targeted traffic to the site until you got your site to start ranking and generating organic traffic, or until you got your social media generating traffic from you know, publishing content to an audience that is looking for that kind of content. You know what I'm saying? So without more... I don't know what the whole Fiverr gig thing was in here. I don't know what you mean by that. Don't ever use Fiverr stuff to SEO services for your money sites, guys. Just don't do it. But if that's what you were doing for SEO as Fiverr gigs, then there's a good chance your site's not ranking because of that, and and you're not getting traffic because it's not ranking. So, sorry, I don't have enough information on that one. Okay, guys. Peter Drew's thing is decent. Pricing is whack though. Okay, Clint. I've as a beta tester, I think Clint's in the beta testing program too. It's fairly cheap for beta testers, but I don't know what the actual retail pricing is going to be, so I can't speak to that. So, okay, guys. Well, thanks for being here. No masterclass today. That's going to be next week as well as mastermind. So I guess we'll just see everybody next Wednesday for Hump Day Hangouts next week. Anything else, guys?
I think that's it. Everyone have a good day. Thanks for being here.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.